The ocean is endless. Its waves carry whispers that no human ear can truly hold. Beneath the surface, shadows drift where sunlight fades into memory. There, in the vast blue, stories live that time itself has forgotten. This is not the tale of battles or storms. It is a journey into silence and wonder. The sea has always been a keeper of secrets, guarding them in currents and tides. Each ripple hides a memory, each swell a voice, each depth a mystery unspoken. Among these mysteries moves a figure, ancient yet eternal, ruler yet guardian. Poseidon, lord of the sea, watches from his throne of coral and shifting waves. His eyes do not see as mortals do. They read the currents like pages of a book. He hears the call of dolphins, the songs of whales, the language of hidden realms. Tonight, we follow him into waters unmarked on any chart, deeper than fear itself. We travel with him where no light dwells, into the sunken depths. There silence speaks. There ruins breathe. There secrets rise. Listen closely. The ocean has begun its story. The sea is calm tonight. The stars above mirror themselves across the gentle waves. But far beneath the surface, Poseidon stirs in thought. He is not restless. He is not angry. He is listening. The ocean speaks to him in tones no mortal could understand. Currents carry voices, rising and falling like distant hymns. Each whisper folds into another, weaving a tapestry of sound. Tonight, the song is different. The rhythm feels uncertain. The dolphins leap, yet their joy is broken by unease. The whales sing, but their notes bend into sorrow. Even the smallest creatures flee shadows no eye can see. Poseidon feels it. The change, subtle yet heavy, rests upon the sea. He places his trident upon the sands of his throne. The weapon glows faintly, not in anger, but in warning. The god closes his eyes, sensing the truth through stillness. Something old moves in the dark trenches of the deep. It is not storm nor beast. It is silence with a pulse. The silence is alive, pressing against the boundaries of his realm. Poseidon rises, his hair flowing like seaweed in the tide. The palace of coral listens with him, every arch vibrating softly. The turtles retreat, the eels hide, even the seagrass bends low. The ocean remembers. The ocean trembles. He whispers to the water, asking what disturbs its harmony. The answer comes as a chill that coils around his heart. Not fear, never fear, but a call, a beckoning. It is the call of the depths, the lowest trenches, the places unlit. Once, long ago, he sealed something away in that darkness. Not to punish, not to destroy, but to protect balance. For centuries, the sea has been quiet, keeping its promise. Yet now, the seal stirs. The song of the deep has shifted. He steps forward, each movement rippling through leagues of water. Fish scatter, sensing his intent. The sea makes way. He is not wrathful. He is thoughtful, steady, listening still. Poseidon is both ruler and guardian, a keeper of order. But order bends when secrets long buried begin to rise. The voices of the sea spirits gather around him. They murmur of a light seen far below, faint and wavering. They murmur of ruins glowing like a heartbeat in the abyss. He does not dismiss their words. He never does. The sea is his library, and each creature is a page. Every ripple tells him something. Every silence, too. The silence now grows louder than any storm he has known. It is not a silence of peace. It is a silence of waiting. The waiting of something patient, something forgotten. Poseidon places his hand upon the current. It bends around him, carrying his strength to distant shores. He recalls the trident he once buried, not of power, but of choice. A trident forged not to fight, but to open, to unlock. He wonders if the ocean remembers more than even he does. The call deepens. The whales pause mid-song. The dolphins swim in circles, uneasy. The plankton shimmer faintly, then vanish into dark. The god takes a breath, though he does not need air. It is a breath of resolve, not of survival. He knows the path must begin tonight. The balance he guards is shifting, tilting ever so slightly. If he ignores it, the ocean may drown in silence. If he listens, the truth may reshape the tides forever. Poseidon turns his gaze downward. The shallows sparkle with moonlight, but the depths call louder. The depths do not shine, yet they hold something brighter than stars. He steps forward once more, preparing to descend. The sea itself leans toward him, as though eager for his choice. The call of the sea has spoken, and Poseidon will answer. The currents shift tonight, moving in patterns that feel both familiar and strange. Poseidon stands still, but the ocean swirls with restless energy. Every tide carries a murmur, words stitched into the flow of water. The dolphins leap, but their cries sound like warnings instead of joy. The gulls above circle, uneasy, sensing change from far below. The seaweed bends as if bowing to whispers that no mortal hears. Poseidon listens, every sound weaving into a message of unease. The whispers carry stories older than memory, older than his reign. They speak of shadows rising, of echoes no longer contained. The whales begin their long song, yet the melody falters midway. Their voices trail into silence, heavy and unsettled. Even silence has weight, and tonight it drags against the tide. The smallest fish dart away, vanishing into cracks of coral. The manta rays glide like shadows, tracing circles with unease. Poseidon narrows his gaze, sensing the language beneath the noise. It is not chaos, not storm, not anger, but a call shaped by need. The sea itself is pleading, carried by every current and wave. He feels the truth. Something once sealed is awakening. Not by force, but by time, by patience, by inevitability. The ocean's song no longer flows. It stumbles, echoing broken notes. Poseidon moves slowly, each step echoing across the seabed. Coral structures tremble softly, as if listening with him. The seagrass leans toward him, pulled by invisible voices. He hears whispers of ruins far below, glowing faint and steady. The ruins breathe like a heart, pulsing in hidden darkness. The creatures of the sea know, though they cannot explain. They feel it in their bones, in the rhythm of their fins. Poseidon closes his eyes, reaching beyond sound into memory. Long ago, he sealed a pact with mortals beneath the waves. A city once thrived, shining bright with respect for the ocean. But balance broke, and silence fell where music once lived. Now the silence returns, but with a voice sharpened by time. The voice is not cruel, not angry, but persistent. It calls not just to him, but to all the sea at once. The dolphins answer in circles, their cries weaving warnings. The whales linger, heavy with sorrow in their song. The smallest shells rattle faintly, echoing the deep vibration. Even the waves above grow slower, dragging with unseen weight. Poseidon rests his hand upon the current. The water hums beneath his palm, carrying messages from the abyss. The hum is steady, like a heartbeat echoing through stone. It is the rhythm of something waking, patient yet unyielding. He does not fear it. He has never feared the sea. But he respects it, for the ocean is older than gods. He wonders if mortals on distant shores feel the shift. Perhaps they dream of waves pulling stronger, deeper, stranger. Perhaps they feel tides no moon should command. But they will not know the truth that he now hears. The truth belongs to the deep, where no mortal breath can reach. Poseidon raises his trident, letting it glow faintly. The glow dances across the water, answered by flickers below. Tiny lights spark in the distance, plankton shimmering in waves. Yet the glow seems guided, as if pointing to something unseen. He follows with his eyes, tracing the invisible pull downward. The currents answer, swirling gently around his feet. They guide him, urging him toward the abyss. He understands the sea does not command, but invite. It pleads for him to listen, to descend, to remember. The whispers grow louder, carried by every drifting tide. They no longer sound like fragments, but voices joined as one. Voices of the deep, voices of the forgotten. Poseidon breathes, steady and calm. He has heard the call, and soon he will follow it into the depths. The ocean grows darker as Poseidon moves deeper into thought. He remembers a time when the sea sang without interruption. The harmony then was pure, flowing through every creature alive. But memory is never simple, and the past carries its weight. Long ago, before silence fell, a trident of power was forged. It was not made for war, nor for striking down enemies. It was crafted as a key, a bridge between worlds. The trident could open paths hidden beneath layers of time. Its glow was gentle, its strength drawn from balance, not wrath. Poseidon had held it once, feeling its resonance in his hands. But he chose to hide it, burying its light in the abyss. He sealed it away so that its power would not be misused. Not by mortals, not by spirits, not even by gods themselves. The memory of that choice lingers like salt in the water. He had promised the ocean that the trident would rest undisturbed. Yet tonight, its presence hums faintly at the edge of his senses. It calls not with words, but with a rhythm like a heart. Each beat echoes through him, soft but insistent. The whispers in the current begin to shape into fragments. They speak of a forgotten city, of towers now cloaked in coral. They speak of songs that once rang out across the waves. A people once dwelled there, blessed by his favor. They lived in respect, building harmony with the sea. But time bent them, as it bends all mortal things. Ambition grew like weeds, drowning out their reverence. The pact was broken, the balance undone, the silence born. In sorrow, Poseidon placed the trident far beyond their reach. The city sank, swallowed by the ocean that once loved it. And so the ruins became shadows, hidden from mortal sight. The ocean never forgot, though mortals did. Now, centuries later, the trident stirs again in the deep. Its hum spreads across the seabed, steady and undeniable. Creatures gather, sensing the awakening with instinct alone. The crabs scuttle nervously, the jellyfish glow brighter than before. The currents pull stronger, as if drawn toward the abyss. Poseidon lowers his gaze, feeling the weight of his decision. He had chosen silence once. Will he be asked to choose again? The sea waits, holding its breath, patient but pressing. He knows that keys exist not only to open, but to remind. Perhaps the trident awakens not for destruction, but for memory. It may be calling him, urging him to witness what was lost. The god closes his hand into a fist, steady and calm. He will not run from what he buried. He will face it as he always has, with balance in mind. The whispers grow louder, forming a single thought, not a command, not a demand, but an invitation. It is the sea itself asking him to remember. The ocean speaks, not with storms, but with silence full of meaning. And Poseidon listens, for listening is his truest power. The trident glimmers faintly in the deep, though unseen by mortal eyes. Its glow trembles across the waters, felt by every living thing. The dolphins circle closer, their voices sharp with urgency. The whales sing again, their notes long, low, and filled with sorrow. The smallest shells rattle as the current pulls harder. All the sea points toward one truth. The trident is stirring. Poseidon feels the bond between himself and the ocean tighten. It is not fear that fills him, but responsibility renewed. The ocean has kept its part of the divine promise. Now it asks him to keep his. The god breathes deeply, though he does not need breath. It is a breath of choice, of readiness, of resolve. He turns his eyes toward the abyss below. The trident waits, and Poseidon must decide whether to claim it once more. The ocean quiets as Poseidon lifts his gaze from the deep. He senses movement, not from the trenches, but from all around him. The sea itself begins to gather, as though called by unseen hands. From the shimmering surface to the darkened valleys, life stirs. Schools of fish break their patterns, swimming in spirals of light. The dolphins arrive first, chattering in tones sharp and urgent. They circle Poseidon, their sleek forms weaving patterns of warning. Above them, rays glide silently, casting wide shadows over coral. The whales join slowly, their immense shapes vibrating with song. Their notes roll through the water, heavy with memory and grief. Sea turtles swim from hidden grottos, their shells glowing faintly. Even the smallest crabs emerge, clinging to rocks with patience. The gathering is not random. It is the ocean's council. Every creature arrives with instinct, guiding them toward the god. They carry messages not in words, but in presence, in movement. Poseidon knows this ritual, for it has happened before. When the sea senses imbalance, all life draws to its keeper. The Nereids appear, their forms shimmering like moonlit waves. They weave through the currents, their laughter subdued and solemn. They bow to Poseidon, voices blending in soft, melodic murmurs. Their words are not prophecy, but memory shaped into song. They speak of a vision shared in dreams and tides. A city once golden, now glowing in the abyss. Towers rise in shadow, covered in coral and silence. Arches stand broken, yet shimmer with faint light. Within those ruins, a pulse beats steady, neither alive nor dead. The Nereids tell of dreams filled with glowing doors. They see gates of pearl trembling in the dark. The dolphins echo these visions with restless leaps. The whales confirm with songs stretched long and low. All voices point to the same truth. The ruins stir. Poseidon listens, his eyes closing as he gathers their messages. The ocean speaks through many tongues, yet always says one thing. The past is not gone. It is waiting to be heard. He recalls the pact once made, a vow bound by respect. Mortals were given gifts of the sea, treasures of knowledge. In return, they promised to honor the waters as sacred. But promises break when greed whispers louder than gratitude. The city sought to claim more than it should. Balance was lost, and the ocean took back its gift. The Nereid song fades, replaced by silence heavy with meaning. Poseidon opens his eyes, his gaze soft yet steady. The sea creatures linger, forming a circle around him. They do not plead, they do not demand. They wait, for they know the choice belongs to their guardian alone. Poseidon lowers his trident, letting its glow spread gently. The light reflects in the eyes of every creature near. It unites them, reminding them of their bond to the sea. The god speaks, his voice deep but calm. You have brought me truth. The sea remembers, and so do I. His words ripple outward, carried through currents and tides. The dolphins quiet. The whales rest their voices. Even the smallest shellfish still, as though listening. Poseidon lifts his trident once more, marking the moment. The gathering is more than ritual. It is promise renewed. He knows what he must do. The descent cannot be delayed. The Council of the Sea has given its message. Now, its guardian must act. Poseidon turns toward the deep once more. The sunken gate awaits, and the ocean itself prepares to follow. Poseidon drifts downward, leaving the council behind in a ring of stillness. The sea narrows as trenches rise like walls of black stone. The water thickens here, pressing against him with ancient weight. Every flicker of light fades until only his trident glows softly. He moves through silence so complete it feels alive. Creatures of the abyss awaken at his passing, shadows with silver eyes. They do not approach, but they watch, guardians of their own secrets. The god does not disturb them. He understands their silence. This path is older than any mortal map, older than memory. It leads to a place whispered of, but never seen by men. The sunken gate is said to stand beyond these ridges. It is no gate of stone, but of current, light, and time. Legends tell it shimmers only when the sea wills it so. Poseidon slows, sensing a shift in the water ahead. The current bends strangely, spiraling into patterns unnatural and smooth. He follows it, letting the sea itself guide his steps. Soon, a shimmer grows before him, faint as dawn through fog. It widens, bending the water into an arch without stone. The arch ripples, its edges glimmering with pearl-like threads. At its center lies darkness, yet it is not void. It pulses, as though breathing with the rhythm of the ocean. Poseidon halts before it, his hand tightening on his trident. He feels the weight of countless years pressing from beyond the arch. It is not menace, but memory, waiting to be touched. The gate does not open with force, but with recognition. The ocean whispers around him, urging him forward. He closes his eyes and places the trident gently into the current. The shimmer responds, its threads brightening, weaving into clear form. A low hum fills the water, neither song nor thunder. It spreads outward, stirring the abyss into trembling. The sunken gate awakens, its light cutting the dark like dawn. The passage opens, revealing a corridor of shifting glow. It stretches into unknown depths, lined by drifting orbs of light. They float like stars, guiding a path no mortal has walked. Poseidon steps forward, the water thickening yet growing warmer. Each orb brightens as he passes, lighting the way. He feels the presence of memories embedded in the current. Voices linger in the water, faint echoes of forgotten lives. Laughter, prayers, and whispers drift like bubbles through the corridor. They belong not to the sea, but to those once mortal. The city's spirit still breathes, carried in the tides. Poseidon continues, his face calm though his thoughts weigh heavy. This is no journey of conquest. It is a return. The ocean calls him here not for judgment, but remembrance. The corridor widens, revealing vast gates shaped of coral and crystal. They tower above him, scarred yet glowing with quiet strength. The ruins of the lost city lie beyond these doors. He pauses, hearing the faintest sound, a heartbeat in the stone. The pulse is steady, patient, waiting for his arrival. He rests his hand upon the coral gate, feeling its vibration. It is warm, as though alive, as though aware of him. The trident hums softly, resonating with the heartbeat. The gates do not resist. They yield like water to his touch. Slowly, they drift open, revealing shadows and light interwoven. The city sleeps beyond, vast and hidden beneath ages of sea. Poseidon breathes deeply, steadying his spirit. The sunken depths have welcomed him within, and what lies ahead will reveal why the ocean remembers. Poseidon steps into the city, and the water shifts around him with reverence. The streets stretch wide, paved with coral and luminous shells. Broken arches rise like skeletal hands, reaching for currents long gone. Statues lie toppled, their faces worn smooth by centuries of tides. Yet even in ruin, the city breathes with quiet majesty. Every surface glows faintly, as though memory itself radiates from stone. He drifts slowly, his trident casting a soft light on the path. Around him, schools of fish weave through shattered windows and halls. Their presence fills the silence, as if life still clings to the city. He passes mosaics etched into walls, colors muted but still vivid. They tell stories of mortals who walked here once, hand in hand. Scenes of feasts, music, laughter, and worship to the sea. Poseidon pauses, tracing the outlines with his gaze. He remembers when these people sang to the ocean with joy. They honored the waves with dances and gifts of harvest. The sea gave back, granting them bounty and knowledge. But the mosaics darken further down the wall, changing tone. The people are shown building towers that scrape the sky. Ships bigger than whales, nets wider than tides. Their eyes are drawn upward, away from the sea. Poseidon lingers, the memory sharp, though the stone is silent. Ambition is carved into these walls as deeply as artistry. He moves onward, deeper into the city's heart. The streets curve toward a great square, vast and still. At its center lies a fountain, dry yet glowing with faint light. Carved dolphins leap in frozen arcs, mouths open as if singing. The water no longer flows, yet Poseidon feels its song. It is not gone, only sleeping, waiting for touch. He lowers his hand into the basin, fingers brushing coral. A tremor runs through the fountain, and light spreads outward. Images ripple across the basin, reflections of time itself. He sees the city alive again, glowing under golden suns. Children run across the square, laughter bright as bells. Musicians play by the fountain, their voices rising in harmony. The people smile, looking not to the sky, but to the sea. Then the image shifts. Clouds gathering where once was light. The sea grows restless, its surface churned by greed's demand. He sees nets cast too wide, ships leaving no rest for waters. Temples once for worship, now filled with treasures stolen from waves. The harmony fades, replaced by hunger that cannot be sated. The vision dims, returning the fountain to its sleeping state. Poseidon withdraws his hand, his face calm yet shadowed. He understands why the ocean turned against its beloved. Not out of hatred, but to restore what had been broken. The city fell, not by storm, but by consequence. Balance was demanded, and the sea answered as it must. He rises, leaving the fountain behind in its slumber. Ahead lies the grand temple, still standing though scarred. Its pillars stretch upward, cloaked in seaweed and silence. The doors remain closed, yet light seeps through the cracks. Poseidon approaches, each step echoing through the water. He feels the weight of memory thickening around him. The temple does not resist him. It waits, patient and eternal. With a touch of his trident, the doors yield slowly. Inside, vast halls stretch, lined with carvings of stars and waves. A single throne of coral and gold sits at the far end. It is empty, yet it holds presence, heavy as the deep. The walls hum faintly as though alive with voices. Poseidon listens, and they whisper truths not spoken for centuries. The city was not only lost, it was sealed. Sealed so that memory would remain, unbroken by time. He understands now. The sunken depths are not ruins alone. They are a living memory, held by the sea itself. Poseidon lowers his trident, bowing his head in respect. The silence of the temple answers like a prayer returned. He knows his journey is not yet complete. The heart of the city lies deeper still, waiting for him. The temple breathes around Poseidon, its walls humming like strings touched by unseen hands. He walks forward, each step echoing through the vast and hollow hall. Light trickles down through cracks in the ceiling, soft as moonlit rain. Shadows cling to carvings of waves, stars, and unbroken circles. The air of the place is not heavy, but weighty. At the temple's center stands an altar, draped in coral and thyme. It glimmers faintly, not with gold, but with memory. Above it floats a sphere of water, suspended and whole. It does not spill, nor does it ripple, but shines like liquid glass. Poseidon approaches slowly, his trident humming as it nears the sphere. The sphere responds with a faint pulse, like a heartbeat in the deep. It recognizes him, as if bound to his presence. Within the orb, shadows stir, forming images that drift and fade. He sees faces of mortals long gone, their eyes bright with wonder. He sees temples lit with lanterns, prayers rising like music. Then the faces change, joy replaced by hunger for more. The shadows show ships crowding the waves, nets dragging endlessly. Mountains of treasure pulled from the ocean's floor, taken without balance. The sphere quivers, reflecting the city's rise and its fall. Poseidon lifts his hand, but does not touch it. He does not need to. The truth is already clear. The city had asked too much, too soon, too blindly. The ocean had given, but the pact was broken. And so the sea reclaimed what was always its own. Yet the orb does not end with ruin. It shifts once more. It shows a vision of the city still glowing, even in depths. Its light dimmed but not extinguished. Its essence preserved. Not as punishment, but as memory. A lesson sealed in silence. Poseidon bows his head, his voice soft, carried in currents. The sea forgives. The sea remembers. But the sea does not forget. The orb trembles, as though answering his words with its own. A faint glow expands outward, filling the temple with warmth. Carvings on the walls shimmer, their symbols waking to life. Circles spin like tides, waves move as though alive. The temple itself seems to breathe, alive with ancient rhythm. Poseidon steadies his trident, the glow reflecting in his eyes. The orb has given him its truth, but also its request. The city's memory cannot remain sealed forever. It calls to him, asking for its voice to return, not to rise, but to be heard once more. The ocean does not demand silence. It demands balance. Poseidon closes his hand around the trident, his decision forming. He will carry the memory beyond the depths. Not as treasure, but as story. A song retold through ages. The orb brightens, swelling with light, until it bursts into streams. The streams flow across the temple, weaving into glowing patterns. They stretch along the walls, across the ceiling, through the stone. Every line connects, forming a map of the sea itself. Currents and tides shimmer, linking all waters as one. Poseidon gazes at the map, understanding its meaning. The city's fall was not an end, but a reminder to all. Every wave, every tide carries memory forward. The sea never forgets. It teaches. It guides. The temple stills, its light softening back to silence. The orb is gone, dissolved into the ocean's embrace. But its truth lingers, etched into the god's heart. Poseidon turns from the altar, his path clear once more. He leaves the temple slowly, the walls whispering farewells. Beyond its doors, the ruins stretch vast and silent again. Yet now they seem lighter, less burdened, more alive. He knows his journey has shifted, from descent to return. The sunken depths have spoken their truth, and Poseidon carries their voice with him. Ahead, the ocean waits to receive its story. Poseidon leaves the temple, his steps slow, as though the walls themselves hold him back. The ruins spread before him, endless streets tangled in coral and silence. Light filters through cracks in the ceiling above, casting pale beams. The water glimmers with drifting dust, like stars caught beneath the waves. He drifts into the square again, the fountain resting in quiet stillness. But something has shifted. The city feels awake, aware of him. Every surface hums faintly, a vibration soft as a whispered name. The sea itself carries the weight of what has been seen. Poseidon lifts his gaze, sensing a ripple moving through the currents. It is not storm nor creature, but memory released at last. The city breathes, not with lungs, but with the rhythm of tides. Its voice rises through the waters, echoing across the ruins. Poseidon listens, and the ocean answers with a chorus of sound. The whales sing from the distance, their notes heavy and deep. The dolphins join, sharp voices weaving like silver threads in the dark. Even the smallest creatures hum in unison, carrying the tone. It is the ocean's song, vast and unbroken, speaking of balance. The ruins glow faintly, outlines of towers shimmering like ghosts of light. Mosaics brighten, colors blooming for the first time in centuries. The fountain stirs, a trickle of water flowing like a sigh. Poseidon feels no triumph, only quiet certainty. The sea remembers, and through him, it is heard again. But the journey is not yet ended. The heart of the city remains hidden, deeper than stone and memory. He turns toward the great arch at the far edge of the ruins. It stands taller than the rest, its pillars carved with spirals. Seaweed clings to its sides, swaying like banners in a silent wind. The current pulls faintly toward it, a path calling him onward. Poseidon approaches, his trident glowing softly, guiding his steps. As he nears, the water grows warmer, filled with strange energy. The arch does not crumble like the others. It endures, untouched. Symbols carved into its frame shimmer faintly, responding to his presence. He halts before it, sensing the weight of what lies beyond. The sea grows quiet again, as though holding its breath. Poseidon raises the trident, letting its tip touch the arch. The symbols blaze, light spilling into the currents like fire. The arch awakens, opening into a passage of pure radiance. It leads not downward, but inward, spiraling into the unknown. Poseidon steadies himself, then steps through the shimmering veil. The water bends around him, wrapping him in warmth and glow. When he emerges, the world is changed. The city no longer lies in ruin, but in vision. Before him towers rise whole, crowned with gold and crystal. Streets bustle with life, though only as echoes of light. He sees the people again, their faces unbroken by time. Children run, elders speak, families walk hand in hand. But they do not see him. They are memories, not flesh. The city's spirit has opened itself, showing what it once was. Poseidon watches, his heart heavy with reverence and sorrow. This is no illusion, but truth preserved in the water. The city wanted to be remembered not only for its fall, it wished to be seen in its beauty, its joy, its harmony. Poseidon walks through the vision, unseen by those within it. He feels the warmth of their lives, carried in every stone. The ocean does not erase. It keeps, it carries, it tells. As he moves, the vision begins to fade. Drifting like mist, the towers dissolve into shadow, the voices into silence. The city falls once more, returning to its sunken rest. Yet Poseidon understands now. Its memory is whole again. Not ruin alone, not triumph alone, but all of it together. He breathes deeply, letting the truth settle within him. The arch behind him closes, its symbols dimming to rest. The ruins lie quiet once more, but no longer forgotten. Poseidon lifts his trident, its glow brighter than before. The Sunken Depths have given him their story entire, and now the sea waits for him to carry it forward. The ruins lie silent once more, yet the silence feels transformed, gentler, almost tender. Poseidon moves through the streets, his gaze steady, his trident glowing faintly. He senses the city no longer clings to sorrow, but breathes with balance. Every broken column now feels like a monument, not to ruin, but to memory. The sea currents swirl slowly, carrying whispers of long-forgotten prayers. Poseidon listens, and for the first time, the city feels grateful. It has been seen, and not as a grave, but as a song carried through tides. The god pauses at the edge of a once grand avenue. Its stones are cracked, coral spread across them like woven carpets. Through the cracks sprout gardens of seaweed, swaying in emerald ribbons. Fish weave in and out of the shadows, painting the city with motion. Life has returned to what was lost, though in a different form. This is the way of the sea. It does not destroy, it transforms. Poseidon runs his hand along the stone, feeling time itself carved within. The city does not resist him now, it welcomes him as guardian. Ahead, the avenue opens into another great hall, partially collapsed. But even broken, it carries majesty, arches standing tall against the tide. Inside, murals stretch across walls, faint but still alive with color. They tell of voyages, of harvests, of dances beneath lantern-lit skies. Mortals once poured their hope into these walls, grafting joy into stone. Poseidon studies them, and the murals seem to shimmer in response. It is as though the city, even broken, wants him to know its story. He closes his eyes, and for a moment, he feels the music. Lutes and drums, voices rising together, laughter carried into night air. When he opens his eyes, the hall is still again, quiet. But the sound lingers, like an echo in his heart. He knows now that memory is not only sorrow, but song. The city is not a tomb, but a library carved in water. Every stone, every coral-claimed step holds knowledge. The sea keeps it safe, waiting for those who will listen. Poseidon continues through the hall, emerging into a small chamber. At its center lies a cracked pedestal, covered in shells and silt. Upon it rests a small object, half hidden beneath sand. He brushes it free. It is a tablet of stone, carved with spirals. The spirals are not words, but patterns, a map of meaning. As he holds it, the carvings glow, light filling the chamber. The tablet hums softly, like a conch held to the ear. He realizes it is not a relic of power, but of memory. It carries the city's teachings, preserved for whoever would listen. Poseidon lifts it carefully, placing it across his arm. The glow fades, but the warmth remains, pulsing gently like breath. This is what the city offers. Not treasure, but wisdom. The wisdom that harmony is not eternal unless nurtured. The ocean can give, but it also takes. And balance is everything. Poseidon feels the truth deep within him. The people above must hear this story, not as warning, but as guidance. The sea does not ask for fear, it asks for respect. He steps back into the avenue, the ruins stretching before him. Now, the city feels less like a place of endings, more like a companion. It has shown him its past, its sorrow, its beauty, its truth. And now, it entrusts him with its voice. Poseidon raises the tablet, and the currents seem to stir around it. A low hum spreads, like the sea itself agreeing with the gift. He feels the ruins settle, their story complete, their spirit at peace. Poseidon turns, his gaze moving outward, beyond the walls, beyond the depths. The ocean awaits, ready to carry the city's voice across the world. For he is not only its keeper, but its messenger. The sunken depths have spoken, and their words rise with the tide. He steps forward, leaving the chamber behind, his journey reshaped. The city does not vanish into silence. It lives now within him, and through him, it will live in the hearts of those above. The ruins lie silent once more, yet the silence feels transformed, gentler, almost tender. Poseidon moves through the streets, his gaze steady, his trident glowing faintly. He senses the city no longer clings to sorrow, but breathes with balance. Every broken column now feels like a monument, not to ruin, but to memory. The sea currents swirl slowly, carrying whispers of long-forgotten prayers. Poseidon listens, and for the first time, the city feels grateful. It has been seen, not as a grave, but as a song carried through tides. The god pauses at the edge of a once grand avenue. Its stones are cracked, coral spread across them like woven carpets. Through the cracks sprout gardens of seaweed, swaying in emerald ribbons. Fish weave in and out of the shadows, painting the city with motion. Life has returned to what was lost, though in a different form. This is the way of the sea. It does not destroy, it transforms. Poseidon runs his hand along the stone, feeling time itself carved within. The city does not resist him now. It welcomes him as guardian. Ahead, the avenue opens into another great hall, partially collapsed. But even broken, it carries majesty, arches standing tall against the tide. Inside, murals stretch across walls, faint but still alive with color. They tell of voyages, of harvests, of dances beneath lantern-lit skies. Mortals once poured their hope into these walls, crafting joy into stone. Poseidon studies them, and the murals seem to shimmer in response. It is as though the city, even broken, wants him to know its story. He closes his eyes, and for a moment, he feels the music. Lutes and drums, voices rising together, laughter carried into night air. When he opens his eyes, the hall is still again, quiet. But the sound lingers, like an echo in his heart. He knows now that memory is not only sorrow, but song. The city is not a tomb, but a library carved in water. Every stone, every coral-claimed step holds knowledge. The sea keeps it safe, waiting for those who will listen. Poseidon continues through the hall, emerging into a small chamber. At its center lies a cracked pedestal, covered in shells and silt. Upon it rests a small object, half hidden beneath sand. He brushes it free. It is a tablet of stone carved with spirals. The spirals are not words, but patterns, a map of meaning. As he holds it, the carvings glow, light filling the chamber. The tablet hums softly, like a conch held to the ear. He realizes it is not a relic of power, but of memory. It carries the city's teachings, preserved for whoever would listen. Poseidon lifts it carefully, placing it across his arm. The glow fades, but the warmth remains, pulsing gently like breath. This is what the city offers. Not treasure, but wisdom. The wisdom that harmony is not eternal unless nurtured. The ocean can give, but it also takes, and balance is everything. Poseidon feels the truth deep within him. The people above must hear this story, not as warning, but as guidance. The sea does not ask for fear. It asks for respect. He steps back into the avenue, the ruins stretching before him. Now, the city feels less like a place of endings, more like a companion. It has shown him its past, its sorrow, its beauty, its truth. and now it entrusts him with its voice. Poseidon raises the tablet, and the currents seem to stir around it. A low hum spreads, like the sea itself agreeing with the gift. He feels the ruins settle, their story complete, their spirit at peace. Poseidon turns, his gaze moving outward, beyond the walls, beyond the depths. The ocean awaits, ready to carry the city's voice across the world. For he is not only its keeper, but its messenger. The sunken depths have spoken, and their words rise with the tide. He steps forward, leaving the chamber behind, his journey reshaped. The city does not vanish into silence. It lives now within him, and through him, it will live in the hearts of those above. The ocean stretches infinite, its waves moving with timeless rhythm, neither hurried nor still. Poseidon rises through its depths, the stone tablet held close against his chest. He has walked among ruins, heard their silence, and carried their song. Now he ascends, not as conqueror, but as keeper of memory. The water grows brighter with every stroke, sun filtering down in golden threads. Around him, dolphins circle playfully, as though guiding him home. Whales sing from the distance, their voices vast, steady, unbroken. The sea itself seems to hum, lifting him upward with unseen hands. He breaks into open water where sunlight dazzles in endless sparkles. The horizon stretches wide, the line between sky and sea blurred. Poseidon breathes deeply, though he does not need breath as mortals do. It is the breath of peace, of promise fulfilled, of burden carried. The ruins lie far below, their story now free, no longer forgotten. Above, the world waits, though unaware of what he carried. Ships drift across the waves, small against the expanse of sea. Their sails catch the wind, unaware of the silence beneath. Poseidon watches them, his eyes calm, his purpose clear. He knows mortals will continue to seek, to dream, to wander. Some will take, some will give. But the ocean remembers all. He cannot choose for them, but he can share the truth. The truth that balance is not a gift, but a responsibility. The ocean gives without end, yet it demands respect in return. Poseidon lowers the trident, touching the waves gently like a blessing. The water glows faintly, the sea itself listening for his words. He speaks softly, though his voice carries through every current. The sea does not forget. It holds, it teaches, it endures. His words spread like ripples, carried outward into infinite blue. Dolphins leap, whales call, gulls cry from far above the waves. The entire ocean answers, alive with sound, alive with memory. The message is given not only to mortals, but to time itself. For stories do not fade when spoken by the sea. They move from wave to wave, from shore to shore, eternal. Poseidon closes his eyes, the sun warming his skin, the sea steady. The city below sleeps in silence, yet its song has risen. It is not a tale of ruin, but of balance restored, a story of giving and taking, of harmony broken and remade. Poseidon opens his hand, letting the currents swirl freely through his fingers. The stone tablet hums once more, then quiets, resting in calm. Its message no longer locked. It lives in him now, carried onward. Gazes across the horizon, endless and waiting, vast and kind. The sea is both cradle and keeper, both mystery and memory. And he, its guardian, remains its voice in silence and storm. The waves rise gently, carrying him forward, not backward, never still. The ocean does not end, and neither does its story. Every tide carries whispers, every depth holds truths unspoken. Poseidon drifts with the rhythm, steady as the heartbeat of the deep. The journey is complete, but the story continues in every wave. The sunken depths sleep, yet their song endures, eternal, unbroken. And the sea, vast and timeless, begins again to whisper.